All right, welcome to Parental Apathy case study and our last module of the class. Our problem and identification and analysis of this case study was that we had a school that had very low parental involvement, and the school principal was not really willing to find any sort of programs or ways to get parents involved. We got a new person that's coming in, Miss Rose, and she is wanting to change things up and knows the benefits of getting families in the community involved in schools. So, what do we know? Lack of parental involvement, principal has negative experiences, assistant principal wants change, and principal is hesitant to begin parent programs. What do I need to know? What age group is John F. Kennedy School serve? What have they tried in the past? Has an opinion survey been completed by staff and community members? Do teachers communicate and involve parents? What type of community is the school located in? Is transportation for parents a concern? And what is our ultimate goal for this situation? Instead of just creating a program willy-nilly, what is the goal of that program? What are we trying to achieve? Plan of action and implementation. Step one, ask parents and staff to complete an opinion survey before the school year starts. That way we have a jump start in August and we're not chasing our tails trying to get something together really quick. Step two, host a parent night. Step three, at the meetings, give them any and all information about school policies and volunteer opportunities. And step four, give teachers the same information because sometimes they're not getting what parents get, and there might be a miscommunication. A parent might think one way and a teacher thinks another way. And also give parent or teachers resources to hand to the parents in case they weren't able to come to that parent night. So our implementation, step one, develop an opinion survey for the parents. Step two, develop one for the teachers. Their opinions are going to be a lot different, so are their needs. Step three, contact other schools in the area and see what their volunteer opportunities are and how they're getting their parents involved. Use the resources that are available. Step four, formulate a plan, how to create opportunities and parental involvement. You got to have a plan of action, otherwise, you're not going to make it very far in bringing people into your school. Step five, plan an informational meeting for parents and teachers. This might need to happen more than once during the school year because you are starting from scratch. Step six, throughout the school year, schedule meetings to address any complaints or new opportunities for involvement. As the year goes on, there will be changes, there will be new ideas, and we need to take those in, think about them, process, and move forward. So, our analysis of promoting the success of all students. We want to begin the conversation with parents that attend the first meeting. Those eight people are going to be your foundation for beginning programs for parent involvement. Clearly, they're interested. Clearly, they're willing to take on some tasks, but you're not going to know if you don't talk to them. We need to get parent involvement increased beyond parent-teacher conferences and PTO meetings. These cannot be our only forms of communication with our parents, and they cannot be the only ways parents find out about their kids' educational successes and areas that they might struggle in. Um, Parental involvement can also lead to increased funding resources for the schools because parents have access to community partners that maybe schools don't. And so there might be other opportunities for the schools to get some funding to buy school supplies, computers, laptops. We could get books for the library. There are so many opportunities out there. And then the school needs to work on creating community partners that help families and can get to those families when the school can't, and that can provide resources for the school to reach out to parents to maybe get them involved a little bit more. And then create reading and math nights. Create evenings where families can play games together around reading and math to get them interested in the academics and kind of bridge that gap between school and home, showing the families that these are the games played at school to increase number sense fluency that they can practice at home. Um, I read an article pertaining to this topic, and it said that children whose parents are actively involved in their schooling benefit better than children whose parents are passively involved. Specifically, if parents attend teacher conferences, accept phone calls, and read and sign messages from the school, their children will benefit academically more than children who do none of the above. We have a lot of parents that do one of those, or maybe two, but not always all. And sometimes it takes everything to really get the kid where they need to be and to show that child that everyone cares and everyone is involved and willing to do whatever it takes to move forward. So to debrief the problem, um, I use Education World a lot. I read a lot of articles over it. I find it very interesting. Um, One of the things that I did when I typed in this specific case study, and it came up with so many articles on how to get parents involved, what parents were looking for, different activities you could do to get parents involved, what teachers were looking for from parental involvement. And so handing this over to that group of 8 people and being like, hey, here's a list of like 30 activities. What do you think of anything? Where would you like to start? And begin that discussion. So our system of supports, we can look at many, many ways to bring the community to us. A lot of times parents may not be able to attend meetings during times because they have to work. So if they can't come to school, maybe we hold something off campus at a donut shop or a coffee shop in the mornings, or we have a brown bag lunch at the school because they worked nights, or we go through and have a late night, not a late night, but like a 7, 8 o'clock meeting somewhere for someone that works during the day and just can't get there in time. Bringing in nonprofit organizations, these are some local to Topeka. And Junior Achievement has kind of a curriculum that we can do at school and at home. It really gets parents involved in working through commerce and trade and business. TARC is a community partner that we use for children with disabilities. The YMCA has several opportunities for kids and education activities that we can use to bridge the gap between school and home. And Title I is doing a lot with math and reading and interventions and showing parents what they can do at home to help their kids enjoy reading and math and maybe help them a little bit, um, so the kids aren't feeling like they're always behind at school. Um, Tark, I will go back and say real quick that some families with children that have disabilities are afraid to reach outside. It can be a cultural thing. So bringing that resource to them and showing like, hey, there's somebody out there that's kind of in your boat. Here's some resources to help you get through it. Personal thoughts and feelings. Um, because we don't know a lot about the school that we're working with here, we have some barriers to involvement. Is there a time constraint? Is poverty an issue? Lack of access, lack of financial resources, and are they even aware of what's going on in the school? So opportunities for that change, meaning off campus. Include translators if you have a high non-speak English speaking population. Work around work schedules. We've had to meet off campus for IEP meetings. This isn't any different. Sometimes you have to go off campus to get your volunteers. My reflection. Always opportunities for growth and change. Uh, think outside the box. Build from people that are have done something different and give it a try. Don't be afraid to take a step into an unknown world. And this year we took a step from another school and brought in some resources for more moms to come into the school because we know it's hard for them to get in. We've also opened the door for grandparents to come in and volunteer for reading times. They've come to help file in the library. They have helped in the art lab and lunchroom. And so it's not just classroom work. We're trying to make them feel useful all over. We've had some parent groups come in and do some landscaping because that's what they're good at. Increase communication exchanges. Like I said before, not everybody has access to computers. How are we communicating with these parents? And we're not relying on a child to take a piece of paper home and give it to their parents because papers get lost, turned into airplanes on school buses. You never know what's going to happen. Are we putting things on a calendar? Are we signing notebooks? Are we mailing home letters the traditional way? We really got to work on ways to communicate with parents so they can get involved. Always lead with the positive. Always, always, always. Even if you have a kid who is always in trouble, how are we going to get their parents to want to volunteer so this child knows that their parents are just as interested in their academics as the school is? Look outside your school. Look at your neighboring schools, fellow administrators, and professional resources. There's a whole group of people that are doing the same things we are. Use the community. Use every resource you can get your little hands on. Bring the people to the school, to the parent nights, and continue to evaluate programs and volunteer resources. Our population's always changing. The needs of our students are always changing. So what we're doing 5 years ago is not always going to work now. We need to be proactive. Continuing issues and concerns, retention. There should be an ebb and flow, I would guess. Our 8 parents at the beginning might see some burnout. Growing and changing population, like I just stated, and adapting current programs to benefit everybody. Because sometimes your school population changes. So how are we going to get all cultures involved? All non-English speaking families involved. We really got to think outside the box on that one because we get stuck in a rut. So my components 1 through 3. Component 1, create more opportunities for parental and educator opinions, created more opportunities for communications, and brought community resources to the family. Component 2, communicate the importance of working as a team to increase student success. Build relationships with parents instead of treating them as clients, and give families the opportunity to work with the curriculum so they feel comfortable doing the curriculum at home. And then component 3, bring representatives from community resources to the school. Participate in home visits for the families that have transportation issues. Create opportunities before, during, and after school for families to meet with school staff and community members, and continue programs for families during school breaks. A lot of the times when summers begins, those programs stop, and so we will lose a few people along the way. So let's keep some opportunities open to keep everybody engaged and actively participating. Have a great summer, rest of your summer, everyone, and thanks for listening.